Well, welcome to Beers with Rich. I'm Rich, Head of Investments at Under the Radar Report. It's great to be back. It's been a big week. We've had both small caps and blue chip reports come out this week, so I encourage you to read them all if you're interested in making money. But I think, when you look at them, small caps and blue chips, while there are differences, which I'll come to in a second, the fundamentals are just the same. So I guess one of the key differences is that, if a blue chip or a big cap hits trouble, there are big pension funds to back them up. I mean, Rio Tinto would have gone down. Many companies in the blue chip world would have gone down, but for huge capital raisings and that support. So that's one thing. Also, often blue chips are defending a monopolistic position, not always, but often, which means that the income or dividends should be more reliable. We've all seen occasions of economic dislocation, company dislocation, where this just isn't the case. Those dividends aren't reliable. They're the last cab on the rank. They're not as reliable as often is in the price. But across the board, companies of all descriptions, big and small, are moving feasts. Basically, the human factor comes squarely into play, which is people that try and make a science out of it. Well, they're always going to be bamboozled by the psychological element to companies, because all companies really are a collection of humans working together. So it's important to know what their capabilities and motivations are when you're an analyst. This has never been more evident for us in one of our most profitable kind of areas of making money, which is the turnaround. So, and that's what I want to focus on today. So, namely AMP, ASX, and that other Macquarie Technology, also previously known as Macquarie Telecom. So let's hit AMP. This has returned about 30% in the past few months since we whacked a buy on it in June, but it's been a hard road. This was the bluest of blue chip companies. We all know that, but we all know that it basically imploded about 5 years ago in the wake of the 2018 Royal Commission into Financial Services, with the evidence of company malfeasance or management malfeasance. So basically, it's been in the doghouse ever since. What's changed? Well, there has been a bump, but just look at the share price. It's still a shadow of where it was. But the key is, value is about hunting for value and knowing when to hop in. What has changed? Well, Alexis George, for one thing, although she's been CEO for a few years now, and even when we looked at the company last year, it still looked a basket case. So then a combination of events came about that we capitalized on. So last month there was a big sell-off, or actually a few months ago now, there was a big sell-off after a class action announcement on AMP. So we thought that was an overreaction when you consider the focus that the group has on. Basically, the company has limited its focus to two divisions. So we were impressed by that, and we saw evidence that this was actually working: banking and investment platforms. So the point is that never underestimate the power of simplification for delivering earnings growth, especially when there's so many balls that management are juggling. When they limit those balls to a number that they can control, they can increase their energies on increasing profits, which is pretty much why they exist. Then there's AMP. Well, this company showed classic signs of hubris, basically embracing the blockchain technology. Blockchain technology isn't a worry in itself. It's innovative, it's great, for what it is. It's new, but it's relatively unproven. And when a huge company like ASX choose to use that technology for its critical chess settlements platform, which we rely really heavily on as investors, that raises red flags. So we got out of the stock at over $80. It's trading at $55 now. So the point is that you can easily lose money on big caps. Big does not mean better. The key is always in the price. That is going to be the main factor. If not, the crucial factor in your investment returns is what you pay. So ASX back then was trading on a huge multiple, like 30 times, on a big valuation, and management were making questionable decisions. That's a recipe for disaster. So last, I want to get to one of our long-term favourites, Macquarie Technology. I've spoken about this stock many times. There have been occasions, though, when the company's been not in trouble, but certainly the stock price has been really depressed as institutions bailed out because they were scared of the company's big capital expenditure program. It's a really big program for a small company, and it was too big for institutions to get their mind around. These guys have to report their performance every 3 months, that is the fund managers, so they weren't willing to take that risk. So there were many buying opportunities under $20 for years. It's been as high as $80 when we took profits. Now it's $65. This is where being a small investor really pays off. The big funds can't afford to carry positions, as I said, in turnarounds of that size, whereas we can as individuals, as small investors. So we all need to remember that investing is about patience and believing in strategies. And that's why, fund managers are forced to just look little incremental increases, decreases in earnings, whereas we as individuals can look through that and hold on to positions. So that brings me to like what investing is about, which is, of course, taking risk, sure, but it's also about sleeping at night. So that's why we put a great deal of effort into quantifying the risk for each of the 100 plus small caps that we cover, which will be in next week's report. So next week's report's really worth reading for anyone who cares about making money. So it's a must read. The beer, the cool kids, well, it's good looking. It's got a lot going on for it on branding. Cold IPA, well, you've got my attention. It's cool, it's cold, it's what you want. Like, I think it's brewed in Australia. Those little flowers that produce the magic come from New Zealand's Nelson's Valley. So it's got a lot going for it. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I love any questions that you come back with, when you email radar@undertheradarreport.com.au. So it's great to be back on Beers with Rich. Talk to you next week.